like all over the place. Bloomington, Indiana, would you believe, has called. There is something strange going on about Paul of the Beatles. We'll learn more about it. It's 1:06 on WABC. This is Robey Younge in New York, and the weather report has just been handed to me. It's raining like crazy. Wow. 72 WABC degrees.
Have a call to 02.
Yeah, raining like crazy. In that case, with the rain.
Rainy day is a play day on WABC.
Till 5, the next. We just heard from Jerry Green in Ithaca, New York, at WVBR-FM. And he says that he has been getting calls, just like I have been, about the strange controversy about Paul of the Beatles, the whole death thing. If you missed it, I don't have time to tell you about it now. It'll develop later, okay? Right now, it's music time.
WABC!
If you take on the double album, if you take the cut between I'm So Tired and Blackbird, I am told, now I haven't checked this out myself, but I am told from another DJ that you will hear, if you play it at high volume, Paul is dead now, Paul is dead now. Miss him, miss him. Now, I don't know. Last night I stayed up until 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning talking to the kids at the university in Bloomington, Indiana, about the fact that are you right, are you wrong, is it really something? And then, like at 4 in the morning, I turned on my own hi-fi set and played these cuts at slow speed, and I heard something which made me, like, you know, you hear the expression, turn your blood to ice, or something like that. It's very chilling when you hear things like, I buried Paul, and Paul is dead now, and turn me on, dead man. There's something very strange going on. It may be a promotion stunt, or it may be the real thing, or it may be the Beatles trying to tell us something. I don't know what it is, but I do know this. There is something there. All right? Robey Younge in New York. Nice day today. 72 WABC degrees, and now it's raining. 1:13. It's open now. Speaking to Ed Vane, is it? Ed Vane, at WUVT, University of Virginia. Is that correct, Ed? Virginia Tech. Where is that located, Ed? Blacksburg. Hello, Blacksburg, Virginia. About the Beatle controversy, he says they're doing a special program on it, and he wants to know all we know. All I know. All I know is that 2 weeks ago I called Capitol Records and ordered every Beatle album. And I bought a $450 hi-fi amplifier, and I sat home, and my engineers will attest to this, and I listened to the Beatle albums. And I played them backwards and forwards, and I played them at every speed. And on the Robey Younge hi-fi set, we heard strange things, folks. We heard things like I Buried Paul, Services for Billy. We heard strange things when we played Revolution Number 9 backwards, and I want you to do that. I want you to get Revolution Number 9 and play it backwards. It's from the double album. The Beatles are trying to tell us something about Paul. I don't think it is an advertising promotion stunt. I really don't. And I'm backed up by college students, groups of people all over America who are calling in tonight. And folks, this is a live show. And they're saying the same thing. There is something very strange going on with the Beatles, with reference to Paul. Did you know that the walrus was a pagan symbol for death? Did you know that? Look it up. Do you see the right hand of the walrus on those pictures in the Magical Mystery Tour? Can you see numbers if you get really high on something or other in the title of the Magical Mystery Tour? Okay, work on that, all right? And we just heard from Rutgers University once again, Dennis Sluka. On the Sgt. Pepper album of the Beatles, if you will look in the center page, you will find OPD. That is on Paul's arm, or the costume of the person who is portraying Paul. That may mean officially pronounced dead. I am inclined to doubt that. I don't know what they do. You should ask Webb Kelly, our resident information expert, what they do on this. But that is some sort of a thing on the arm of Paul. That may have something to do with it or not. Rutgers comes up with it and says, yes, they do. In the Day in the Life, in the Beatles, the lyrics, A Day in the Life. I saw the photograph. No one knew whether or not he was from the House of Lords. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I don't have the lyrics before me. He blew his mind out in a car. The theory is that Paul was killed in a car or will be killed in a car. And hadn't noticed the lights had changed, blah, blah, blah. And The reference to the House of Lords and Day in the Life now becomes clear after 3 or 4 years, after it's been out 3 years, I guess it is. Apparently, this means that since the Beatles were made honorary members of the OBE or OBC, what is it, Webb, when you become a member of the Order of the British Empire, says Mr. Kelly from the newsroom. That may have a reference to that. I don't know. It's very complicated. It may be an advertising stunt by the Beatles, but I don't really think it is. And we are uncovering it now, and you're hearing it here for the first time, and I'm taking time with it because I think it's important. Okay? All right. If you have anything important to say, call ABC in New York. But if you just want to comment, please don't, because Pat just called me. There's only one girl on the ABC telephone desk. She had 350 calls in 10 minutes, and there's only the one girl, and the digital counter counted the calls, and they can't afford to put on more than one girl tonight, so cool it unless you have really something to say. And if the lines are busy, call back later, okay? 20 minutes before 2. Moving right along, folks.
Robey Younge. 77 WABC. Music power.
That says if you can do anything to keep them from calling, do it. Rutgers University's come up with a whole new thing here on Glass Onion, the double album, right? Beatles double album a few months ago. Glass Onion, looking up at the tulips to see how the other half lives. I told you about the walrus. The walrus was Paul, the walrus symbol for death. The walrus is Paul. He and I are as close as can be. Put that together. And Rutgers says, looking up at tulips from, below the Glass Onion, is looking up from the grave to see how the other half lives. It all ties together if you listen to the lyrics. Or maybe it means nothing. It's up to you to decide. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just putting the whole thing out. Because I am not going to take responsibility for this. But I'm sure as heck going to tell you everything I know. After 10 years in radio, I know about, coming out on the air and saying things. I'm just trying to be neutral. So don't sue me. You have no chance. I've already checked it out with my attorney. Blood, sweat, and tears when I die. 14 before 2 o'clock. And we're getting calls. I got a call from a guy in Patchogue, Long Island, said, and I've got long distance on the other line. We had 350 calls about 10 minutes ago. I don't know what they are now. Please don't call ABC New York unless you have something definite to say. Last night I found out about this Beatle thing at home. I discovered it, and I talked to a series of research people at the Indiana University in Bloomington, and I said, wow, I'm not going to say anything, I'll keep it to myself. But apparently other stations are about to pick it up. And people know about it, so why not, Why not talk about it? My engineer tells me we've got calls coming in from Florida and Maine and the Midwest, so I really shouldn't talk too much now, but I will say this. We're onto something. We're onto either a very carefully thought-out promotion plot by the Beatles, or a death wish by Paul, or something very, very strange. If you tuned in late, listen to other stations. By now they should have picked it up. After I'm off the air, you'll hear about it. Something strange having to do with the Beatle Paul. But please remember you heard it here first, in the middle of the night, okay? Please do me that favor, because I'm not going to be around that much longer. 12 and a half before 2, Robey Younge here in New York with all-night music power.
Robey Younge.
Here's Mel and Tim and Backfield in Motion.
The most music on
77 WABC.
WABC, New York.
Rascals in Gold on WABC. A girl like you, babe. This is Les Marshak with All Night Music Power. 3 minutes past 2 o'clock. WABC chime time. And, we've been getting some phone calls. The switchboard downstairs has been inundated regarding some speculating that Robey Younge was doing earlier this morning regarding Paul McCartney. If you were listening, you're aware of it. But please be assured that those speculations are untrue. They are untrue. Please don't call, all right? Thank you from me and from the operator, too.